What's up? What's up? Watching Belly. Getting ready for Friday. Chef Josh in here.
Chilling.
Last week we could, what was it? Pulled pork?
2 weeks ago, yeah, we did pulled pork.
That was 2 weeks
pulled
ago
pork
already?
Sandwiches, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
there was
forgot.
no event last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We did pulled pork sandwiches and homemade mac and cheese.
Speaking of that, 420K, 420kingston.com, private social club here in Rhode Island that we host to do this podcast 3 days a week. Joshy over here cooks up a nice little meal. Newman hasn't been there anymore. We got Newman over here hanging out, little puppy dog Newman. Oh, he's getting comfy now.
Newman dog chilling.
Yeah. But he's not there anymore. But either way, 420kingston.com, promo code Rosin Press. You'll be able to get 30% off the $50 membership. Like I said, we do a podcast that Friday. Big meal, big dinner. We're getting ready for the one coming up this week. There's like a vegan meal with my buddies who are chefs up in Bridgeport, so you'll get the week off. But this week, Trav from Lobster Fam Farms came out. Another one that's like super surprising. I mean, I'm lucky that I get these people that come on. That I'm just lucky I know them because I think that it's going to be to go this one way. You know, I try to like plan it out for like what we're going to talk about. And then I forget like these guys have like agendas because they're like super in the scene. So they come here and kind of freely talk about what they want to talk about. I didn't even really know. They have like their own agenda. So I'm just kind of having fun smoking. And like I said, Josh over here, they're all hanging out downstairs. It's a cool little live, not live, but it feels live. Little podcast project we're doing, you know, just hanging and watching movies. I think you're going to like this one. Trav, Lobster Fam Farms. Join the Patreon, the Rosin Press Patreon. Only a couple bucks, bonus content, tons of stuff. Discount to the club if that's something you're into coming out to Rhode Island. But, yeah, this is a good one. Again, I think you'll be surprised. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
You're like, yo, dude, why did you do that? Like looking for a response.
Right.
So speaking of trap house guard dogs, this might be a cool little story.
Fuck it, dude. Let's go right into it.
Is it?
Let's
Is
go
all
right
good?
into
Because it's
it,
not
yeah.
too sketch, you know.
No,
It's
dude,
like-
don't worry about sketch. This is an edited podcast. Remember though, too, before we go, it's the fist thing with the microphone. We gotta remember that. But yeah,
All right.
tell me your crazy dog story.
All right. Before I put this fist up, you ass, I finna tell you about this dog I knew named Ziggy. When I was like maybe 13, 14, I wasn't even smoking yet or hustling yet. I was a late bloomer. But all the homies I was running with up in Vermont, they were all doing their thing heavy by now. My one homie named Pudge, he was like one of those cats up there. Like everyone would come to fuck with him. So he had this big gorilla-looking Rottweiler named Ziggy. And when someone would come in to cop some, he'd just say, Ziggy, watch him. And if you made one fucking move, that dog was on you. And so, like, that big homie could go in his back room, you know, waste shit up, whatever, you know, shenanigans he had to do. When you came out, you bet that person was in the exact same spot they left.
Yeah.
And I think the dog knew somehow that I wasn't, like, a hustler or into all that, because that dog was the biggest baby to my little ass. Like, I was just a 13, 14-year-old little punk, and that dog would just cuddle the shit out of me.
That's what's funny about having pitties, dude. You know, we talked about that all the time with my dog Newman. He's like if you like starts like laughing or whatever, you see his big jaw, and you're like, oh my god, I forgot that it's like a legit shark. but it's like the nicest. The pit bulls are like little babies.
Yeah.
You know, like every single little pit bull has like such a funny personality. Like anyone who owns a pit bull knows that. But it's just like I think like in reaction, just like any of us, if like tension comes, they're just like I think they just like switch over.
Yeah.
You know.
I'd say it's like most super strong dudes I've seen, or just humans in general.
That's
it's like they're
interesting.
usually pretty big babies, or want the farthest thing from conflict until it's time. Then they're wild animals. You know, I feel like it's the same with some dog breeds. Like a Chihuahua is like ready for it. You know what I mean?
Always.
Like those little dogs are looking for trouble. And it's like, you know, a big gorilla dog usually isn't, from my experience. They don't want to be messed with. They just want to chill, want to be happy. Little Shih Tzu or a Chihuahua or something, they're ready to bite, you know, without provocation.
Dude, so switching out of this, I got to tell you something right now.
What's that?
Look at this right here. So I got blow on right now. There's for a reason. You see that guy right there, Dennis? What is it, Derek for real?
Derek for real.
So as you know,
Answered all your fucking dreams.
crazy. I got something I saved for this to tell you. That's so crazy, bro. So
What's up?
I drive a lot.
Yeah.
So I've been getting into the audiobooks. So I started doing the audiobook for Blow. All right. So first of all, this movie is so good because it's so different than the book. The book is literally just about George Jung and it's half weed, half coke, just tales of being a drug dealer.
It's like cut in half, like the book, like that, or
You
it's
wanna-
just kind of split up.
That's how it
naturally?
is. It's just
naturally like
a book that's about a drug dealer. That's it. And that's really it. Like all the drama from this movie is not in the book. Like what I loved about this movie so much was the when every single time shit goes wrong, just like Hustling, right? He goes, "It was perfect." And then everything goes to shit. Right? And none of that's in the book. They never. It's just literally just chronicles and stories about drug dealing. But I'm driving up to Springfield, and the guy's name is it's not Derek for real. It's Steve Burrill. His last name's Burrill.
And
right?
that's like the homie in the story.
It's the real
that was
person.
the West Coast plug.
It's
yeah.
the real person, and he went out there, opened up a salon, the first male hair salon, and he is not flamboyant like they made him in this movie. But you want to know where he's from?
Where from?
Branford, Connecticut.
Yo, you gotta be tripping.
I paused it. I literally paused it while I was driving and almost called you because I didn't know who to call. It was like you or the homie Tommy. Or like even you know, yeah. I just paused it and I literally in that moment was like, I'm having the homie from Brantford, like our hometown that has weird little historic smuggling stories, smoking weed early, weird shit. And I think there's something about like our hometown. And then when I saw that, I was like, that's fucking crazy. And even off air, dude, I'll show it to you on the audiobook. I found it exactly where it is.
That's next level crazy.
He's from Branford,
That's
Connecticut.
blowing my mind for sure.
Yeah.
Something about that fucking pink granite or something is just the radiation makes us hungry for action.
Well, dude, you know what's even crazier? I had a deep thoughts about it, and I was pumped to like just bring up and talk to you about it. When we were, so I knew you in like 2007, 2008, just from playing basketball because we were in the same like condominium, just like hanging out like youngsters, and we linked up in the Bay in like 2011. And, just early Bay Area weed shit in 2011 was crazy. Like, just watching all, like, the brands blow up from that time and what was really going on out there. But even our connections to these big brands that blew up, that's a Branford thing, too. Our homie, that we don't need to name, but was in High Times recently, that kind of connected all that. And, like, it's from the town.
Shout out to homie too. I know you ain't listening, but he put me on the bubble bags in 2002 with that West Coast game. I appreciate the sauce.
Yeah, man. So it's like, dude, that's what I literally like. I remember you in 2007 driving a Vespa. That's why I wanted to talk to you about like Vespa, old school like days and like.
You want to know how I got that Vespa?
Yeah, I do.
The shit was collateral, and mi amigo. Vamanost. So I ended up whipping that shit around.
Yeah. But it's just crazy. Like that little town. Like I remember too, just people, I don't think we even really knew it. Like not too many people in like 2007, 2008 were even understanding what it was, how special it was that you'd have Cali weed, right? Or you wouldn't even talk about it. Like, and nowadays people talk about it. Like they try to flaunt it. Hey, I got this from California. It's like every time I'd hear that, I'd be like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, why are you even like using that as a badge of honor?
Yeah.
You
know me with some of the Bay Area hip hoppers that got pretty large. The game is to be sold, not to be told on a certain level. It's like there's this degree of sharing and being, transparent. And then there's like self-snitching on album and shit like that.
That's the crazy thing too. Remember when we were playing poker?
I feel like that shit's different nowadays. Like you're saying, there was no such thing as self-snitching. Like, oh, I do this. Oh, I get my thing thanks from here. Oh, they're going there. It's like keep them fucking lips closed.
What do you think? I feel like it happened if you put it on a year, 2016, 2017. But I was even like, I got like in trouble and I got caught up with some shit and I had to like kind of move slower. And that's where I don't know if that's just me being biased, but like that's what it feels like things changed, where it wasn't as secretive and people like you like hear it in music more, things like that. I don't know. Do
Yeah.
you remember?
I think you're right on there. I think it was 2016 when California went rec.
Right.
So at
Okay.
that point, it's like a huge chunk of the population. It's just different, and it's specifically the cannabis culture. It's like you count in California, you're counting in like the whole mob, pretty much. You know what I mean? So I think you're pretty on point with that, and I think it's important. I know me. I know me personally. My fear ended up going from, the typical fears of everyone, whether that being getting robbed or getting arrested, went from becoming irrelevant. And it was a way bigger fear. As much as I ever feared cops and robbers, like losing this lifestyle was a lot more fear to me. So that's what kind of made me come out and start telling my story. And I think it might be something similar with a lot of the other cats, like post legalization. Because once things started getting rough, it's like, I don't know, you got to change, and it's like, I was like, all right, what's the risk here to me? Cops and robbers are going to come get me? No. It's like, what's the risk if I don't do it? I ain't going to fucking last. So it's like, I feel a lot of people probably thinking that same thing. It's like, I'd much rather be hidden and be comfortable just doing my thing. But if that means I don't get to do my thing, where's the balance?
And you were growing weed in 2008. So like and we're in the community. So like
05.
that's crazy.
Full time since 05. Like I was fucking.
But you
with
grew
plants
in.
since,
You had
like,
plants indoors in
I was
2005.
for real doing it in Frisco in 05. Like I was fucking around
forgot
growing
about
plants
that.
in my closet in like 98, 99. Ma Dukes finding them and killing them and shit. But like really doing it, like not knowing what I was doing, but really trying to do it for real. Like since 05, full time.
Bro, that's insane. My point is that anyone else, it feels like from that time, if you've been growing weed that long, they don't talk the way that what you just said.
Yeah.
People are very hard nosed. They don't want to pivot. Like when I saw that you were doing like live streams with Future Cannabis Project, I was like, no way. Who would have thought? But like, it's good that we all get flexible. But I want to talk to you more about you said that you were fearing more of the lifestyle, losing the
To
lifestyle.
lose the lifestyle.
Recently, or was that always a thing? Like, did you know back then? Because our mindsets hustling then was different.
I didn't see the lifestyle ever threatened. It was always just cops and robbers that threatened that lifestyle. It was never like the life was going to change. It was just how to avoid cops and robbers. I'd say about that same area you're saying, maybe a little later, maybe like 2019, 20, 21, shit just started changing. And it's interesting you just brought up Future Cannabis Project. It was at a regenerative conference that I was put onto by them, where there were some very knowledgeable speakers in the audience. And they were like, I don't give a fuck what you think. You better get on the social media and start telling your story. And I was pretty much shocked. I had my jaw drop, and I was ready to leave that conference and not think anything that anyone would say that and be like, fuck off. I hate Instagram. That shit's corny. That shit's like some MySpace eHarmony shit. But the dude was straight up, and he wasn't playing, and it was someone that's to be respected. So I definitely listened. I went and got an Instagram that night and tried to start thinking on how to tell the stories. And that was also learning how to grow better herb, how to grow more affordable herb, how to be more sustainable.
Full-time job.
All those things included. But the main thing I took from that was like, get the fuck out there, or you're gonna be gone. And I don't think Big Homie was playing. I think he's for real.
You know what that sounds like though? Comfort, also, which is pretty cool. And I tell people all the time because I'm not even growing, and I'm doing these events and this podcast and like different like kind of trying to bring people together through weed besides just like selling weed or smoking it, like just like these conversations and things like that. But you have to be creative. So many people have been selling weed forever, but like they like complain like dispensaries opened up. I can't sell any weed. It's like, dude, what else are you doing besides putting it in a Ziploc bag? You don't even write what the strain is on.
Yeah.
People ask you and they're like, I don't know.
Here's something I heard from a Bay Area lyricist. Suckers complain, real players gain.
Mm-hmm. That was definitely a Bay Area thing. I remember going out there. That was such a funny. Everyone was hustling out there. A lot more. Like we were like, it seemed like we were the hustlers when we were younger, like growing up in that town out there, in, like small town in Connecticut. But going to the Bay, it's like you better do something or you like ain't shit. Even now, going to do this New York stuff we're about to do, I think about that every day, like paranoid, being like, I'm not from there. How am I gonna like walk into legal dispensaries and like do that in a way that I've never done it before? But it's like, I don't know. You have to be creative. You have to be different. Even doing this pod like is different, right? And like having those conversations. But people just need to be creative and get out of their element. I think to be, I guess, like you said it, be able to be comfortable in this lifestyle, which is a great way of putting it. A lot of people probably won't even admit that. You know, like you said,
I think a
cops are
lot of
robbers.
people want something else out of it too. They want to either feed the wallet, feed the ego, something like that. I'm really just addicted and obsessed to the lifestyle. It's like whatever I got to do. And I think like that being said, to people that have that same mind state, it's like at all costs, like I won't sleep. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of people that won't do what I'm willing to do. So it's like, I'm pretty confident that like, you know.
So I'll tell you where I figured that out for myself, and I'm wondering if it's similar because we talk about this a lot about being broke. I learned that after making money back in the day and then going broke and then having to pick it up again because there was nothing else in my life at the time. And I learned that I loved it. And I don't know if it was nostalgia bringing me back to a happier time when I did maybe have money, but to this day, I just love the rush of it. I love, every being around it. Like there's something to like that lifestyle that you're talking about
Yeah.
that I didn't learn until I was broke and I had to do it and not make money.
Yeah.
Was that similar to you?
Yeah, I think to flip the script on some like, you know, psychoanalysis type shit, I think it's sense of purpose. I mean, that's like, that's really what all of us want. Like, whether you're really striving to be the best athlete, you're striving to be the best family member, you're striving to be the best grower, the best community builder. You know what I mean? Like,
I had a conversation, actually, someone who's from our town as well, that got caught up in high school selling weed, and he was like supposed to be like D1 athlete for baseball, and it fucked him up. And he's like really into hash rosin now, and we're smoking, hanging out, and he started his own business in like the tech world. And he talks about that too. It's like the difference of people who want to live a normal life or maybe just have a weird rush of being the best that they could be at whatever they do. It's like even if they're gonna clean houses, like
yeah.
it needs to be the best clean, like be proud of what you do.
I think we're all looking for sense of purpose, like wherever we're looking for it at. And the game is quite literally a game. You rack up numbers, you feel good at the end of the day, you have a sense of accomplishment, you feel like you won, you have a sense of purpose. It'd be the same thing, like you say, if you're proud of cleaning your house, mowing your lawn, pruning a bonsai tree. Like, a lot of people just gravitate towards the dough and the game because it's easy to see. I made this many points today. It's harder when you're like, you know, oh, maybe I improved the health of some plants today. How do you quantify it? Or you, like, I'm trying to build this community through podcasts and events. How do you quantify that each week? Like, you can't. I feel like for a lot of people, it's just simpler and easier to be like, all right, I made 1,000 points today. I won. And even though it gives them that same like deep sense of purpose, it's still like, I don't know, it's hard to sustain unless you're making dough like that every day. I feel like you're much better how we were talking about lifestyle. Regardless of the dough, if you're building the community, you're going to get that feeling, a sense of purpose, like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Regardless if you make a briefcase full of money that day or you end up losing dough. It's like all the days are good, you know? The homies that are addicted to the game, they'll only feel that sense of purpose when they win that day, and that don't fucking happen every day for anyone who's been in it. So I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure that way. But I do think that's why a lot of us gravitate towards, especially street cats. Like, think of who we're talking about. It's like,
yeah, you're born with nothing.
Sort of sense of purpose we got. You got no fucking education. Yeah. You got no good support system. You got no good role models. You start making points in the game, you feel fucking good. It's like a sense of accomplishment, sense of purpose. So I think a lot of it goes back to that, why we do a lot of things. Like, not just, you know, specifically the things we're talking about, just fucking people in general.
It's funny you say that too, because that's something I learned big time doing these events. And learning or just meeting different people who are new to the game. And we've been doing this. I've been doing this almost 15 years now. You've been doing it for double that basically. And like there's new people in the game now. It was it was so small, and it was a specific type of person maybe, but now there's people who um I meet at these events who like love getting into like doing something different with blowing glass or like something that's involved in it just so they could be a part of the community and feel that like they have that purpose in a community. You know, like having, I think that's why the events do so well, at least like the big sessions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is because it brings people out that like those people exist, you know? And I think that's what a lot of hustlers have been saying forever in this weed game is like that weed brings everyone together. Like you can have two people who have completely different ideas smoke a joint together.
Yeah.
You know, that's why it's a lot like food. You know, like these different types of like things that are it's almost like cannabis is a necessity. Almost. I mean, that's what they did during the pandemic, I think, right? Wasn't it like a
It was like an essential business
Yeah.
or however they
Yeah.
termed it. But I firmly agree, man, on some like brain shit too. It's like we have an endocannabinoid system. It's like obviously we need the cannabinoids. you
Yeah.
know? Even if you're getting them from pepper or some other shit. It's
tough
like
for the ones that don't. That must suck.
yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah.
There are cannabinoids and other things though. That's something that people don't ever really talk about. That's one thing that me and my homies ended up doing some research on because allegedly the endocannabinoid system was in the brain, 100,000 fucking years before before cannabis plant was on the earth. So me and my homies always kind of tripped, like trying to look deeper. Like, were we really waiting? Were humans waiting hella generations for this plant? Like, were we that primed for it? But as we dug deeper, we found that there actually are like cannabinoids in lots of things, like namely black pepper. And like
Really?
yes, like I think that's the second highest after cannabis. So it's not like I think humans are still getting their cannabinoids. Maybe not on the levels or the diversity that they should be, but like I don't know. The system of life knows what it's doing. It's like people aren't just gonna not thrive or survive without cannabis. Like I do think they could do better with it potentially.
In what ways?
Oh God, numerous. I mean, pick a thing, whether it be, common stress relief, anxiety relief, sleep relief is one of the most common things. Rolling around at night is simply not fun for most humans. Humans that are restless, that's one of like the biggest reasons people go to cannabis is to get some sleep relief.
So I dig that.
Women during their menstrual cramps or like all, menopause, all that stuff could be an extreme benefit to women.
I dig that, but I think dosage education is very important when anyone talks like that. Because I learned that at the CBD store that we used to do, where, I mean, CBD is so expensive and it's like such low doses. And if you put it in arnica pain cream, trust me, the arnica is working more than the CBD is.
Yeah.
Right? So usually it needs to be a heavy, heavy, heavy dosage. And if you do it in like, to have it go through your skin to ease inflammation in your endocannabinoid system, specifically your CB2 receptors, it needs to be high dosage through that arnica and you will melt. You'll like loosen up your extremities and things like that. So, and that's just me talking, smoking a blunt about little things that I know from that. And so I think that a lot of people, and think about people who get scared when they're like, I want to go to sleep, right? And someone told me about weed. And then they take a fucking gummy that it's not even about sourcing, it's about education, because it could be a well-sourced, great 50 milligram gummy.
Yeah.
But they take it and they didn't get the education to use it properly for what they're looking for. And then they'll be afraid of it. Like, remember with me with psilocybin and stuff? Like, maybe if I did a little better.
I remember that.
Yeah. You know what's gonna be awesome?
I was there. I was in I would call it a building, but it was more of a barn. I was in the barn.
You know what's gonna be great about that is that we're coming up on the end of this first 30. I told you it'd be fun, right? Just like hanging and watching the movie and stuff. We're gonna move over to the Patreon episode in the next 30, and then we'll talk about that because that's a deep one. Even Josh, the homie cooking, the member downstairs, I forgot. He was like, "Oh yeah, I know that story. You told me when we were tripping outside with the boombox," and I was like, "I told you about the screen." He's like, I know about the screen. So we'll get into that. But
Hell yeah.
dude, this is the second pod we've done and it's so fun doing it because it's like I've learned to just come in and hang because we never know what's expected. And I'm lucky to know people like you and certain people who come in because it seems like you guys do have that purpose, wrapping it up with that beautiful term that we used a lot today. Um, like it gives a purpose, just like you feel like you need to put something out that hasn't been said yet, right? Like I think it's going to be something like this is what you're going to say, and then you do something completely left and educate the actual community. So thank you.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
lucky to have you here, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother.
Cool, man.
Much love as always. You know that.